If we go back to the days of creation, we find the following in Genesis 2, verse 7. And the Lord, I am, God, formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. To begin prodding the mysteries of the soul, John 1, verse 1 through 2 gives us a wonderful metaphorical representation of its concept. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. 2. The same was in the beginning with God. Let us look at the symbolism of the word. For millennium, we have understood that a word is a thought being vocalized or written. A series of words becomes speech and even generates action. Now let us apply the same interpretation in the realm of God's plan and place it in the concept of creation. In the initial phase, it created the soul spirit as it externalized itself into form, since the latter requires an energetic base to have life. This explains why God made us coats of skin, according to Genesis 3, verse 21. This metaphysical reflection stems from John 1, verse 2. For it was our first phase as humans prior to receiving the gift of our physical shells. One would wonder if the word John could be another ancient term or metaphor for the notion of soul or consciousness. Because of the constant redacting and mistranslation of the original terminology, it is and will remain unknown. Still, every verse at the start of the book of John does leave us with this feeling. We can surmise, however, that the thoughts and concepts of the divine mind were indeed being externalized to fashion our mortal shells, and the initial phase was to create the soul or the energy body that would be incorporated later into what we now define as our physical form. In order to understand such perfect accomplishment, it may help to seek the assistance of modern physics. We learn that there are 3 activities that remain constant no matter where we travel in the known universe. They are 1. The energetic, electric, 2. Magnetic, and 3. Gravitational. The first 2 have the ability to create the third by forming an electromagnetic field that operates like a magnet and generates the gravitational field. From a different perspective, there must be an energy base first, so that an electromagnetic field may develop to create a field of gravity, and the latter would attract the particles to fashion form. These 3 elements must be in place for us to even feel anything, as they activate our sense system and allow us to recognize our surroundings. This concept is true with all of life. Returning to the first 2 verses of the book of John, we can imagine the concept of energy taking shape. We could easily say that in the primary state, we are all with God, for the creative impulse had been activated. Our modern technology has also taught us that we are all made of the very same minerals found on planet Earth, confirming that we attracted all of the physical particles necessary to fashion our bodies. This miraculous transformation originated from what John calls the Word, or an externalized concept formulated by the creative principle or divine mind as the initial pulse of creation. In a simpler sense, we could say that we are the result of an immaculate concept that has taken on physical form. This idea will also support what the Master states in John 10, verse 34, when he said, "Ye are gods." This vital revelation, mostly ignored by the clerics of many organized religions, also appears in Psalms 82, verse 6. Within the roots of early Christianity, we find that the Ebionites, see chapter 1, believed that they had a great God that created a lesser God, the human. Considered as hearsay by the founders of the present dominant church, it was translated into God and Satan in the biblical texts. Is there not sufficient evidence that the original intention and covenant was God and humankind? In order to assist in strengthening the aspects of the human form as recorded in the Bible, let us go back for a moment in the physical laws of the universe found in the fields of physics. In a sense, our hearts and emotions are designed to create an electric field through the feelings that we give events. In turn, the latter generate an electrical charge, Luke. When we combine this with our thoughts, it brings a magnetic influence over the electrical feelings, Mark. As do all things of the universe to create mass. Following the physics theorem, the electrical charge bound with the magnetic thought spawns gravitational field that brings us the creative power we need for the experience we define as form or substance, Matthew. In essence, magnetic energy allows us to draw or repel the very things that we desire in life. It does not matter whether we really want them or not, for we have created it. The master may not have used modern technical terms, but throughout his teachings, he spoke often of these three natural laws. In Eastern philosophy, the second of the 12 laws of karma, law of creation, tells us that we attract what we are, not what we want. Let me say that again in case I confused you. In Eastern philosophy, the second of the 12 laws of karma, law of creation, tells us that we attract what we are, not what we want. This is an excerpt, page 461 and 462 from A Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible. Stephen L. Harefield, Ph.D. You can find more on this at mastervibration13.com, where I am reading the entire metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. Gracias. Adios.